If you love modernism, this is the paradigm. A home that honors Joseph Eichler's original vision of light and indoor-outdoor relationship. Yet it's fully reimagined with today's high-performance system, where every material, every finish, every details reflect deliberate craftsmanship.
Quiet inner street, space privacy, calm light proportion flow. Reimagined with intentions and like entry skylights above. Reading warmth below, यहीं से सपने शुरू होते हैं जहाँ रोशनी और शांति मिलती है.
The living room opens wide, volume and knees, a dual-sided fireplace, connecting living and dining inside and out.
Fleetwood glass disappears, walls dissolve, the patio becomes the room. Green lawn, open air, designed to gather.
At the center, the kitchen, a sculpted quartz waterfall island.
Custom cabinetry, sub-zero of luxury that perform. Dining flows naturally, formal yet relaxed. Firelight again, evenings that linger.
Then retreat, a primary suite set apart.
Quiet, private, calm.
美感有心人的奢华就在这里发芽。A spa bath, soaking tub, rainfall shower, Eichler Duravit, effortless luxury.
Every room intentional, nothing excessive, nothing overlooked. One of the largest lots. This is more than a home. It's restraint, balance, mid-century soul.
This is a textbook example differentiating a classic Eichler versus a modernized one. And if you have time, sit with me. I'm going to walk you through several technical details from an architect's point of view, using this home as an example to cover the fundamental difference between the traditional classic Eichler, the modern one, and the modern heating system, roofing system, the difference between all different window and door brands, the comparison between kitchen appliances and plumbing system. Finally, I'll get to share my point of view of a comparison between one-level and two-level living. This is going to be a long conversation full of details of architectural knowledge, and let's get started. So for Eichler, as far as I know, there's only two kinds of people. Either you love it or you hate it. There's nothing in between. Why do people love Eichlers? Because they're truly remarkable creations. They offer extraordinary indoor-outdoor relationship, and with the privacy wall towards the street and the glass opening towards your backyard or courtyard, bridging the exceptional natural light into every space. The post and beam construction creates very efficient open floor plan for everybody to feel modern, even after decades till now. And beyond architecture, Joseph Eichler, as a developer himself, was a pioneer. He believed that housing should be all-inclusive. He sold homes to families from all different ethnicity without discrimination during a time when segregation was still common. So an Eichler is more than a house. It's a design philosophy with cultural roots and social values. But here is why some people don't like it as much. Traditional Eichler were built with single pane glass, often with large custom size that are really hard and expensive to replace. Roof insulation was thin and minimal, and the radiant heat floor, which were constructed decades ago as a high-tech back then, now are all aging, leaking, or failing to perform. So the comfort is inconsistent. The renovation is expensive. However, this home resolved all these conflicts. The architectural intent stays, the soul stays, but the systems are completely rebuilt. They have new radiant heated floor redesigned for this even quiet comfort. and foam roof that dramatically improved the insulation and thermal stability. And the modern double pane door retain all the heat while still delivering the light that Eichler are known for. This is what creates a true modern Eichler, a home that looks open but lives comfortable. When we talk about heating in Eichler, it helps to zoom out and look at all the system people actually live with today. Originally, Eichler used water-based radiant floor heating. At the time, this was incredibly innovative. Heat rising quietly from the floor, no visual blocking, no noise. However, while the idea was right, the problem was the execution. Those original slabs were massive, produced in 1950s and 1960s. The tubing was not always placed evenly. Some were closer to the surface and some are buried deeper, and the heat was not distributed evenly. Also, now over the years, the tubes probably leak or not function anymore. When that happens, most owners replace them with forced air with gas furnace. The gas furnace is common across the whole Bay Area ranch homes. However, forced air, although it works really reliable and powerful, it does come with some trade-offs. It introduces the mechanical noise, it creates dry heat, and it turbulates air and gets the dust all around. And lately, California shifted from gas towards electricity direction, so the heat pumps start to become more popular. While heat pump functions similar to the furnace, it does have a few improvements. It doesn't give you the dry heat anymore, and it provides cooling, yet it still gets all the dust and all the noises. So ultimately, the floor radiant heat is still the most luxury and best solution of all. No noise, no dry heat, and almost no dust, because nothing is being blown around. In this home, the heating was designed from ground up, literally. The radiant heated floors are new, engineered with brand new modern technology for even quiet whole home comfort. Heat rises gently to your feet, allowing the architecture to stay clean and open without vents or mechanical clutter. Of course, the radiant heat does not provide for cooling, so for warm days, we do have the mini split to offer the cooling, so you still get the most optimized comfort. When we talk about comfort, we have to talk about roofs. Talking about roofings, there are actually quite a few different styles out there, and they behave very differently, starting from pitch roof. Let's talk about it. The most common ones are the composite asphalt shingles. They have an average lifespan between 20 to 50 years, and they're very easy to install or repair and relatively inexpensive. Because of the affordability and simplicity, they remain the most popular roof type in the residential construction. Then you have the clay tile, concrete tile, and the slate roof. All these tile roofs are much more heavier material and significantly longer lifespan, from 50 to 100 years. And while they're more expensive and require structural support to be stronger, they are attractive visually and typically used in some architectural significant property, for example, Mediterranean homes. There's also metal roofing, which is extremely durable and relatively lightweight and very modern. However, some of them are a little bit brittle. It's hard to put the solar panel on it, or you can't really walk on it, but they have a long lifespan. Another traditional option that I almost skipped is the wood shaker roofing. Visually, it's really beautiful and classic. However, with the California fire, it's a little bit hard to get insurance to approve for them, and it's getting less popular now. Now let's shift to the flat or low pitch roof. For those, very commonly we use some build-up roof, also known as bitumen roof. These are asphalt-based system with multiple layers of gravel on top. They are durable, however, they have limited insulation function. You might ask, why are we talking about insulation of roof? Because roofing typically aren't insulations. You're right, because in a pitched roof, there will be attic space that you could put insulation above the ceiling under the roof. However, in a low pitch or flat roof situation, there's no space for insulation and the roof might want to kick in. So for flat roof, for example, Eichler, that's where spray foam roofing comes in. Spray foam roof combines insulation, waterproofing, and roofing 3 functions in one, creating seamless thermal envelope. While they do require recoating over time, they are exceptionally comfortable and energy efficient. And this roof was recoated as well so that you can effortlessly enjoy the comfort and the warmth. When we talk about windows and doors in the new construction today, here are a couple brands that often hear. Milgard, Anderson are almost the go-to choices. Milgard is probably the most widely used. Home Depot carries it. It's dependable, affordable, you see it everywhere. Anderson sits one level above that, more premium, more refined, stronger branding recognition. But in this home, they use Fleetwood. And that pushed it into a completely different category. If you think about a car terms, Milgard is like Toyota, Anderson is like Lexus, and Fleetwood is Porsche. Fleetwood is an architectural brand. They design for large openings, minimal trims, and precise execution. It's not about mass production, it's about experience and intent. Not everybody needs it, but if you know it, you know. I didn't notice this brand at first. I noticed the experience. When I opened this big door, I have never seen such a large glass panel this large move so smoothly, so effortlessly. So I asked the seller, what brand is that? They said, Fleetwood. And I was like, oh my God, that explains. This is the difference between a simple flip or an average renovation versus this home that the homeowner truly prioritized the highest living quality. No compromise and not a value calculation. All right, let's take a look at the kitchen appliances because they are the core of a home. You don't have to agree with me, but this is how I personally categorize them. Mainstream brands like GE or KitchenAid are like Banana Republic, nice, reliable, more affordable, and very mainstream. Jen Air feels like a Hugo Boss, stylish, design forward, a little bit more fashion conscientious. Thermador is kind of like Louis Vuitton, feature-rich, widely marketed, very recognizable, but sometimes could be a little bit loud in the design and the presence. Viking reminds me of Balenciaga in its earlier days, bold, aggressive, built around the performance aesthetic, very influential, but not always the most refined or for everyday living. Millie is Chanel. Precise, engineered, and minimal, serious, and very expensive. It's not about showing off, it's about discipline. And then we come to Wolf and Sub-Zero. To me, they're quiet ones. They're the Hermes. They're not trendy. They don't try to impress loudly. They're timeless. They're disciplined and built around function and consistency. Wolf focuses on control. Their oven is known for extreme precise temperature regulation and even heat distribution. In this home, they have double Wolf oven with the top one as steam oven. Comparing to microwave, this contains way better for reheating food for its texture, moisture, and nutrition. Once you have it, it's very hard to go back. On the refrigerator side, these are Sub-Zero. They have 2 separate processors, one dedicated for the refrigeration and the other one solely for freezing. The separation makes the humidity control separated and have your food to have less water transferring to each other, and that's what the extra function is from Sub-Zero. They have one built-in full size for food and another one for wine. This tells you something. This kitchen wasn't designed to impress for photos. It was designed to be used every day at a very high level. When I walk into this house and look at all the bathrooms, I was like, wow, this feels like a live showroom of the world's top plumbing brands. But everything here is intentional, functional and designed for real lifestyle. Let's start with the double sink. This is Eichler by Hansgrohe, the highest tier within Hansgrohe, which is already a renowned brand. And essentially, this is a couture line of plumbing. Eichler collaborates with global designers like Philip Stark and Antonio Citerio, and you can feel that design discipline immediately. The faucet is wall hung, which keeps the countertop completely clean. This same geometry also carries through the bathtub minimal faucet as well. This is the hotel level refinement executed properly, and it makes housekeeping effortless. Now let's take a look at the shower. Most homes give you one shower head, but this bathroom gives you complete set of spa composition. You have a rainfall shower overhead, a handheld shower, and 3 body jets, precisely placed for comfort and circulation. And then here's my favorite surprise feature, a floor-level utility sink. Once you see it, you'll realize how genius it is. Now, the toilet. This home blends European design with Japanese functionality. You have the Durovit Sensor Wash by Philip Stark, which the architects love because it looks seamless and minimal, yet integrated the bidet, drying, and heat seat function all together. It's wall hung, supported by the Gerberit concealed carriers, which is a gold standard used in luxury hotels and European construction. There's also a Japanese-style Total Smart Toilet with the automatic motion sensing lid, and also one more that has the night light integrated in the bowl, adding comfort and safety without visual clutter. Bathrooms here aren't just nice, they're architectural, intellectual, and international. In California, especially in places in Palo Alto, people often assume that 2-level living feels grander, while 1-level living feels more modest. But from an architectural point of view, I would like to share that I actually see it the opposite way. True California living is 1-level living, especially when you have the land like this. This home sits on one of the largest lots in the area, and that completely changed the equation. With a vast flat site, you can spread out horizontally and no worrying about stepping up and down. That matters more than people realize. Functionally, 1-level living is easier on your knees, and it's also safer for kids and pets and elderly. There's no staircase to worry about, and it opens up home to a much broader group of users. You can truly live here from baby years through retirement. From the resale perspective, there's more fire pool as well. There's also a construction perspective that people often overlook. Foundation and roof are usually more expensive than more wall and windows. So 1-level living actually means more expense on constructing the home. The only good thing about double level is that you might have larger lot. However, in this home with such a large land, that's a non-issue. Not to mention, the homeowner previously got an approval for adding another 500 square foot of addition without much restriction. And this just speaks for its own how rare and amazing this property is, and you won't need to worry about outgrowing from here. Tucked away in a quiet street and with such a scale, privacy, what a long-term potential for you to look forward to. I hope this Architectural Digest style walkthrough was helpful in sharing not just what this home looks like, but also how it actually works. And if you ever have any questions about architecture or real estate, just say when.